friends, welcome to Bethany Virtual Cafe. So we are now on the last episode or the final episode of our movie reflection on the Peaceful Warrior. So as it is a practice from the previous episodes, I'd like to begin by doing a shout out to our subscribers and to some people that I'd like to extend my greetings. So first, I'd like to shout out to Joanne Gonzalez. Hi, Joanne. Hopefully, you're doing fine. And also our community there in Saint Anthony Parish in Oakley. Also, I would like to make mention Robert Panis. Hi, Robert. I hope that your family and you are doing well there in Washington, if I'm not mistaken. Also, I'd like to make mention of Father Richie Sarabia. Hi, Father Richie. Hopefully, you're back on your feet at work in the ministry. And I'm actually so happy that you are well and has survived somehow the ordeal of the sickness. And also, I'd like to make mention Ferdinand Vista. Hi, Ferds. Thank you for always being supportive, even until now. Right from the very beginning when your classmates have been as supportive as you are today. Attorney Ferdinand Vista. Also, I'd like to mention in general my Lucans batchmate from Santo Niño Seminary. So you guys are awesome. I hope that later on we could collaborate and maybe do something to extend this channel, not only for myself and my own benefit, but also to a larger community as well as to our batch and the Santo Niño Seminary. Also, I'd like to finally mention this wonderful family who's always been supporting me right from the very beginning. Malu, Delvin, and their beautiful princess and daughter, Izzy. So thank you so much. May we be able to journey together and be able to accomplish greater things out of these means of communication. The last part of the film begins with Tommy and Dan having a conversation at the qualifier. Let's try to see how Dan is now able to impart his own learnings from Socrates in this conversation. Let's watch this.
You did something that none of us can completely wrap our heads around. You know that, right? I mean, it's like a miracle or something, Dano. Whatever you learn, man. Whatever that guy taught you. You think maybe you can rub a little of that magic onto me?
It's not magic, Tommy. Just getting rid of all that bullshit you have up in your head. It tells you might not be enough. So when you get up there, you make every move about the move. All right? Not about the gold. Not about what your dad thinks about you. Not about anything. But that one moment in time.
But this is for the gold. Everything we do, Dano. I mean, at least for me, my whole life is about getting those 20 seconds in front of those judges so they can give me that gold. You want to know what my dad would think of me if that happened? You want to know how my whole life would change? How everything that's a problem right now wouldn't matter anymore. I get everything I want. I get to be happy.
The last video clip is the last part also of the movie, if you watch the movie. This is already the time of the qualifier. And we hear in this part of the movie a beautiful conversation between Dan and his teammate Tommy. Now, we seem to experience a deja vu here, a deja vu of the time when Socrates was giving advice to Dan. This time, however, it's a different picture, because you see here now Dan being the trainer, trying to impart his knowledge to Tommy, his teammate. Before we further give our take on this last part of the video, I'd like us to maybe go back to our learnings from the very beginning. First, it is wonderful for us to understand how it is to become a peaceful warrior. And in the previous episodes, I pointed out that the search to become a peaceful warrior starts from within. And it starts from looking at our core values, looking at our core realities. Because if we are certain of those core values that we have within us, then it would give us a better light and a better purpose moving on from those values. For us Catholics, the movement from within is principally compelled by the love of God, by God Himself, the Spirit of God that inspires us, or who inspires us, and who gives us all the tools necessary to be able to align our goals, our purposes, our aims, to eventually live with God, the Father in heaven. Because now you have a purpose. Now you have something to hang on to hold on to as you move on with your daily life. Peaceful Warrior also contributed or suggested the 3 rules of life. What are rules? Rules are the things that guides us, or guideposts that would help us accomplish our goals. And in the movie, there are 3 rules of life. 1 is paradox, 2, humor, 3, change. And we've added 2 more from Stephen Covey, which is principle and choice, or choices. Now, these rules of life are wonderful guideposts to guide us through in our journey. The journey which is more important than the destination. Now, allow me to talk about stewardship. Stewardship, as you can see, is one of the building blocks of Bethany Virtual Cafe. Now, what is stewardship? To simply put it, stewardship is no other than our exercise of our true identity. Our true identity of sharing our time, talent, treasure, and faith. Not because we simply share them for the sake of sharing them, but rather we share them because that is who we are. Who we are as members of the body of Christ. And as members of the body of Christ, we are also called to exercise the offices of priest, prophet, and king, entrusted to us right from the very moment of our baptism. Just as there are 3 rules of life, there are also 3 convictions of stewardship. And I'd like to share this to you in this regard. 3 convictions in particular underline what we say in a pastoral letter, Stewardship, a Disciple's Response. And let me highlight this. The first is that mature disciples make a conscious, firm decision carried out in action to be followers of Jesus Christ, no matter the cost to themselves. So stewardship is a gauge of maturity, especially in our spiritual life and in our journey of discipleship as we follow Jesus. Second, beginning in conversion, change of heart and mind, this commitment is expressed not in a single action, nor even in a number of actions over a period of time, but in an entire way of life. It means committing one's very self to the Lord. So this too is also a commitment, but it's not a one-time commitment. This is a way of life. This is a culture, so to speak, a culture of our Catholic living and faith. And then finally, the third conviction is stewardship is an expression of discipleship with the power to change how we understand and live out our lives. Disciples who practice stewardship recognize God as the origin of life, the giver of freedom, the source of all they have and are and will be. They are grateful for what they have received and eager to cultivate their gifts out of love for God and one another. Parallel to the peaceful warrior, we are also in a battlefield. In a battlefield as stewards of God. Our stewardship is our way of responding to God's call. Responding to God's call to share our time, talent, and treasure and faith as His disciples. So we do not share our time, talent, treasure, and faith just because we wanted to share them or that it could give us merits or it could give us the assurance of heaven. But we do so because we are responding to a God who has called us to do so. To a God who has first loved us right from the very beginning. A peaceful warrior battles his own life's battles and challenges. A steward of God, in the same way, battles the different challenges that come along his or her way. It may be a difficult battle, but that battle is assured of victory. Assured of victory which comes from God's almighty hand and the gift of His grace. The gift of His grace that will enable us to win for ourselves the treasures of heaven, the glory of heaven that God has promised to us right from the very beginning. We are peaceful warriors. We are called to be peaceful warriors. We Catholics, Christians in the same way, are called also to be stewards of God. Stewards, disciples of Jesus who follow in the path of love, who follow in the path of goodness, who follow in the path of peace. May the movie be able to inspire us in ways that motivate us to become a true and a wonderful servant, a true and a wonderful warrior. Going back to the film, or going back to the last clip, Tommy was reiterating the same words that Dan was telling Socrates before in the first encounters they had in the movie. Because here, Tommy is like telling Dan that the gold, the qualifier, and even the 20 seconds of performance to qualify him for the Olympics is something. It is something for him, and most especially to his dad. Because if he wins, his dad will be very happy. If he wins, he will also be very happy. To answer Tommy, we know better, right? And we know better because our happiness is always geared and always rooted on God. Are we happy? Yes. We are happy not because of the gold. We are happy not because we were able to qualify for the finals, for the Olympics, for our work, for our accomplishments, but we are happy because God is with us in this journey called life. Dear Bethanians, as we finish, let us try to maybe look back and to situate the movie into our own personal circumstances. How can we become a peaceful warrior? How am I going to apply my current situation to respond to my own battles, to accomplish my goals? How am I going to make my purposes God's purposes too? So Bethanians, thank you for journeying with me in this movie reflection, and I hope to see you again in the next movie. If there is a movie that you'd like to suggest for me to review or to make a reflection, just comment them below so I could take them into consideration and post them in my next movie reflection. So till next time, Bethanians, God bless.